Alright guys, today we're back with another Viewer Loadout Building video, and this is episode 24. We're doing it for Nolly, and this one is interesting because we have a $1,000 budget and they want a dual loadout. Or at the very least, they did request 2 knife and gloves, so I am going to go dual loadout vibes, and they want me to leave $150 to $200 for the weapon skins. We don't have to force a theme, and they don't want moto gloves, so I've got to change from these pals. Today's video is sponsored by Ulanzi. I've just recently moved, and although my stream room has a long way to go, the Ulanzi D200H deck dock was the first thing I got set up in the new space. That's because it instantly upgrades my stream and your viewing experience. No more tabbing out of CS2 mid-game to change scenes or fix something in the background. Everything stays smooth and seamless for you guys watching. It's essentially a programmable macro keyboard that lets me map complex tasks to one click, whether that's switching cameras, controlling music, or hitting an instant mute when I need it. And because it's plug and play, I had it running in minutes. The built-in 7-in-1 hub has also been huge. It keeps my desk cleaner and makes it way easier to connect external drives or extra peripherals without digging around the back of my PC. What I love is that it gives you pro-level features about half the cost of competitors, but with the exact functions creators actually rely on. So if you're streaming, editing, or just want to simplify your setup, the Ulanzi D200H deck dock is a small upgrade that makes a huge difference. Check the link below to learn more. Now, what Nolly did say was they prefer sports, hand wraps, and specialists. So I'm going to go with specialist gloves on the CT side, which you can see here. It's the Moguls in Field Tester for $220. And I'm going to pair it with a vanilla knife. Vanilla knives work really well with the Moguls in general. And this is a paracord for $150. So we're getting decent specialist gloves, a knife that has nice animations and I think actually looks quite good in vanilla, and we're going to pair it with FBI Sniper as the agent for $32. I wasn't sure if I was going to get agents in, but it turns out I was able to, and I am going to do that full dual loadout based on this, but without forcing the theme too heavily, which is where, like the USP for example, not forcing the theme, but it looks fantastic. A Alpine Camo for $1.55 here in minimal wear is such a good value for money skin, and the fact that it works well with the Moguls, and you'll see the issue with the Moguls, the thumb wear. We can't get around that. I tried different patterns. At this budget, you're stuck with it. On the P250, on the CT side, I am going to go for the cassette. It's 8 cent. What I like about this is there's the greys in the gloves, and then you get the grey strip on the top of this P250. And I've always liked the cassette. I just like that basic but clean artwork on it. Now, there are definitely going to be calls for a Sputnik Deagle here, but I'm actually going to go for the Directive. It's $1 rated in minimal wear. I just like how that grey-blue sort of fade exists on this skin. Yes, the Sputnik has that new model. It's mad chunky. It may work better color-wise, but at least then you have 2 options. I like how this works with that like secondary blue color on the gloves. And then on the dual Berettas, we're going default, but with the Elite 1.6s. They're 28 cent minimal wear, and again, this is where I am kind of leaning a little bit into like theming it together, at least making the pairings work, because these grey skins with the grey bits of the Mogul gloves open up a lot of opportunities. Like you can go grey and you can go blue. And then even skins like the Buddy 5.7 are going to work because you've got that blue base into like multiple different colors. Obviously the gloves have a bit of yellow on them, and then well you don't really see it in the idle anyway, but or the inspect, but it's there. And this is just a nice skin. It's $1.40, and I think these 5.7s with the faces on the back or like artwork specifically on the back, same as Tech 9s, is just such a nice touch. And a budget skin, I think is a little bit slept on, is the Nexus. This is 9 cent in minimal wear. I know it's from a case that's been opened a bunch, and it is a mil-spec, so it's going to be low cost, but this, for a mil-spec skin, like, there was a time, if you went back 10 years ago, this would be a higher rarity skin for what you're getting. So I'm just a big fan of, like, that mil-spec value for money these days. And I thought it'd be a bit too boring to go for the armor core, so I did go for the Astrolabe on the MP7 in min wear 47 cent. It's kind of got a bit of grey, a bit of bronze into it. I thought with the agent and the gloves, it could work pretty well. Just slightly more interesting than that armor core, as I say. Now, I did plan this video on the 27th of September, and I pinned the new Continuum at field test it being $2. Now, that could have changed. We could have some variation by the time it's live, but at least that's what it was at the time of planning. Now, fun fact on this skin, the higher float you go, the more sort of purple effects it gets, which is where I think the field test element means you still get kind of like this grayish blue and just cool artwork. It looks really nice here. And then, I don't know what it was, something was just calling to me about this Run XM. I think with the Moguls being a little bit worn, having that like sort of, I'm going to say a glitch tech kind of pattern on them, just something about this XM to me sort of ticked the box with them. And then the Monster Coil on the Mag 7, absolutely no-brainer. This is where the theme sort of kicks back in because the color pairings here are really strong for a skin that is under $1. And I'm going to admit defeat. Whenever I first went over the new Genesis collection skins, I said I wasn't that excited about the liquidation, and I'm still not like crazy about it, but I can now understand how good this is in the future as a budget M4NS option. Obviously, at the time of planning, minware was $17.50. I'm expecting that to go down a little bit, but we'll just see how it goes with things being out. That is going to bounce around. Please have a note of that, because obviously new in the game. We've only had it on the market for a week at this point. But for $17.50, one, looks really good with the gloves, and two, just this effect, and obviously when you inspect it, you get that change from red to blue. I think this is going to become a really nice budget Emperor-esque skin, kind of like the Black Lotus did. And then we get the good old Emperor for the Emperor A4 field test, and this is now nearing $16, but honestly, for getting a top 3 Emperor A4 skin in the game at this price in field test, and it holds up well, I think that's a pretty damn good way to be spending your money. And believe it or not, we do get a print stream in here, even on a dual loadout. Now, this is a Battlescarred version for $35, and what I like about it is, we've just got, like, it gets dirty in Battlescarred, right? And we kind of have that dirtiness on the gloves, and there's just something about it. I was like, you know, it's a sought after print stream, a lot of people want it, and the fact we can sneak it in here in a $1,000 loadout, it's like, you kind of have to do it then, right? Then as we skip over to the famous, we get a half-tone wash. This is a $50 skin for minimal wear. It is pattern based, but like so many of the patterns are like just at market price, so you'll be able to pick up something that looks like this, pretty cool, pretty good, without breaking the bank. And then we finish the CT side sort of leaning into those grey skins again. Now, this is a Steel Sentinel. It's 25 cent in minimal wear. And you know what? You're not going to use the AUG much, so I just like going for a super cheap skin, so you're not putting too much budget into an area you're not going to use. Now, Noli, I really hope you've enjoyed this so far. That is the CT side completed. Now we're going to go over to the T side, where you get what I think is actually a banging combo for the price. You're going to get overprint gloves in field test, which are $234, and then pair them with Phase 3 Dockwork Shadow Daggers for $235. Now, on the agent side of things for this, you are going to be using Enforcer Phoenix, $12.75. You may as well also use a default agent, because there's nothing that special about them. But I was like, we've got a CT agent, let's include a T1, so you have it. But this combination, for what is it, like, looking at it now, this is like a $470 combo. Like, I mean, I'd probably prefer it to be a bit cheaper, but the gloves hold up really well. And I just love how the Phase 3 daggers look. Like, colors come together really nicely, as does the Glock. The Bunsen burner here for 70 cents works wonders with the overprint gloves. And this is where you said the 3 glove types you like were Sport, Specialist, and Hand Wrap. We want Specialist CT, it makes sense. We're going Hand Wrap on T side, because for me, on like a sort of theme-wise, that makes sense as well. And you didn't flat out ban me from using the theme, you just said it wasn't forced, but like, when we have options like this, the Ripple, 64 cent min wear with these gloves, 100% we're going to go for it. And for the longest time with these gloves, you had to pair it with a Desert Eagle Midnight Storm. Now, however, on the more budget-friendly level, you can spend 80 cents on a min wear tilted. It's not going to be as perfect as the Midnight Storm, but for the money you're spending, it's going to look bloody good. I also find myself using the blue blast again, and never thought this would be a tech I start suggesting sort of regularly, but for 8 cents in this sort of case to get, like, not every cheap weapon skin gets full color over it, and this is basically full color over it, and it's just nice shades of blue. And I am going to suggest a lovely ZZ skin here, because the Polymer for 33 cent min wear, absolutely perfect with the gloves. Like, that cyan blue is there, and so nice. Clear pick. And while I appreciate there's going to be a lot of shouts from Malachite for the Mac 10, the cat fight for me, so good with this. Like, actually getting artwork everywhere. Like, I'm a big fan of getting strap detailing on Mac 10s, and you get it here. The full skin has artwork, and the blue is not too dissimilar to the blue that you get on the gloves. Now, this was $4 at the time of planning min wear. As I mentioned, for the liquidation and other new skins, there's a little bit of variance, so just please keep that in mind over the next week or two if you're watching it at a later date. The MP7 on the T side here, I just went for something that personally I think is quite good, but is high artwork style. Like, just smile for just over $1 here. I think you get a lot of, you're getting a lot for what you spend, really. Like, it's a very good looking MP7 skin. And then P90, again, like, just obvious pairings make sense when you go to the overprints. The traction is one of them. It's also only 31 cent in min wear, so banging value. And would you look at that, we're using another liquidation. This time it's going to be the MP5, which is 9 cent in minimal wear. This was the first version of this skin to be accepted into the game, and obviously we have that M4 now, which I showcased on the CT side. And maybe you missed it, but I am a huge fan of the sawed-off these days. I just love how cheap it is, especially if I'm not playing Face It and I'm playing comp games. Buying this and running around getting kills with it is so fun. For $1.35, the Apocalypto skin is also fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, well, maybe not quite fantastic, but the Robin's Egg for just over $50 for factory new is going to be my get ill of choice. You also have the Cold Fusion, but something about the Robin's Egg for just sort of calling me on this one. I would like something different. Maybe this is an area you want to look at upgrading and maybe not forcing the theme, but for now, getting it in budget, I'm going to run with it. And one great thing about these gloves, especially if you're trying to go like budget friendly, like really we are in this case, is the Ice Cold AK is now well under $10, man. We're talking $7.15. Now, it is going to get some scuffs on it, but this for me, when I got back into playing CS about 3.5 years ago, I loved this skin. I thought it was so cool, the gradient's really nice, and it still is cool. It's now just even more accessible for people, which is great. And what I'm hoping will be is equally accessible is its up variant that was newly added to the game. Now, much like all the other new skins I've discussed so far, prices are fluctuating. It was $12.50 in field tested at the time of planning. That could change in the future. It could go up, it could go down, but I'd like on T side here, at the time of planning, for $20, you could get an Ice Cold AK and the op, and they work really well. Then my scout of choice is going to be the Xeno. This is just over $1 for minimal wear, and what I really like about it is it's got that like white grayish black with that glitter effect, really nice cyan blue accents on it, which like it's just a small accent color that then pairs in with the gloves without breaking the bank. I kind of like those options for skins. And honestly, we end off cheap and cheerful with the SG. The Aloha here for me just makes sense at 15 cents. Now, the question is, how much does this cost? And the answer is $994. You're getting two combinations that look pretty good, mind you. The T combo is just absolutely fantastic. Under $1,000 for a full dual loadout, for a skin for every weapon equipped, and agents as well. Like, this has come out super, super well. So, Nolly, thank you for making this request. This was actually super fun to build, and in a time where the market is in absolute shambles, it has been really nice to showcase that you can actually still get pretty good value in some areas. So hopefully you enjoyed that. If you guys want to get involved with Viewer Loadouts, make sure you're in the Discord. It's linked down below. I announce in there when we're going to be doing the videos. We do 2 every single month. You can give me any request you want, and we'll cook it up for you. Going to say a big thank you to the YouTube members. That's also a way to sort of jump the queue. If members, we've covered their videos already. Members get priority for custom builds like this and dedicated videos. So thank you to all the guys that have been supporting for so long now. It is really appreciated. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.